Hello, it is Zach with a podcast named Tim, here for a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers review. Today we're talking about Foul Play in the Sky. As always, a quick review of the show, and then kind of talking about the monster of the week to give our one-of-a-kind ratings on it. We look at the design of the monster, the plan that has been put in place, the powers they have, their success against the Rangers, and the voice. It's 1 through 5 in each of those categories. 25, the best monster ever. 5 would be the worst, because 1 out of each category. Before we get into the quick review of Foul Play in the Sky, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. And, of course, leave your comments below on if you agree with our rating. So, this is a pretty straightforward episode. There's not a lot of notes I have, which is kind of helpful sometimes. Because sometimes, there's a lot of weird stuff going on, and there's not a lot of story here. It's pretty straightforward. So Kimberly is going on to fly on a plane with her Uncle Steve. Jason and Zach are working out. Zach tries to hit on Angela. I think this is the first episode she was in. I might be incorrect, but that fails. But the big thing here is the Kimberly aspect. And there's some things that don't make sense to me in this episode, but we'll get into those. So the plan is we're going to put a sleeping potion in Uncle Steve's drink. He's gonna fall asleep at the wheel, or at the, is it called a wheel? I guess it's called a wheel, the steering wheel, while he's flying the plane, and then he's gonna crash the plane, and that's gonna kill Kimberly. Pretty dark, if I do say so myself, especially for Power Rangers. But Bulk and Skull are also at the airport. Apparently they love planes, and they pretty much invite themselves on and are on board as well. Of course, they are scared of flying once they get up there. Once Uncle Steve gets knocked out, they're even more afraid, obviously. The monster for the week is Snizzard. That's the name of the monster. It's half snake, half lizard. So, Snizzard is the monster. And it's weird, in this episode we had a flashback to the day of the dumpster, like when they're flying up in the air before he passes out. It's like they look at the mountain, it's like, oh, I have such good memories over there, and I don't know, it just seemed, I don't know if they ran out of time and they just needed to fill up some time for the episode and didn't have enough script or what that was, but it was just weird to get like a quick little flashback that, I don't know, maybe it took up like 30 seconds, maybe a minute. Just seemed like it was there to eat time. But anyway, Steve's knocked out, Bulk and Skull faint. They also wake up one more time when Kimberly's flying and they freak out again. But the main important thing here is while this is going on, Snizzard is sent, and he's destroying the other Rangers pretty well. He's got, I think the kid called them leg cobras. He has snakes he can throw out at the other Rangers, and they like drain their energy. They try and attack him, and he like reflects their power at him. He's got like an apple on top of his head. And I think his arrows are also snakes. I get what they're going for. Could have been executed better. He didn't get a lot of lead up. It was just like, oh, here's the monster of the week, and so there wasn't a lot going on with him in that regard. But what's really weird about this episode is Kimberly is freaking out because her uncle passes out on the plane, and she's like, oh my god, I can't fly and I don't know what I'm doing, and it didn't make any sense because she flies the pterodactyl Zord, which she steers and pilots. And so I thought, if you could pilot a Zord that flies, why wouldn't you be able to pilot a plane? I don't know, that just didn't seem to make sense to me. I understand what we're going for, but it didn't make sense. Alpha walks her through piloting and landing it. She lands it, and once that happens, there's a fight. There's not much there. She kind of lands and then immediately saves the day with just 2 power bow shots. But that's it. Like, she hit the apple on his head, and that's what destroyed him. And so he is in no Megazord mode, so not the best monster. Although he was able to hold his own against the other Rangers before Kimberly got there. I wish we would have gotten more explanation, and I think they do in another episode where they explain why the power bow is needed specifically to defeat this monster. Like I said, I think they do that in another episode. That's kind of a Kimberly heavy episode where they go into detail about why the power bow is needed. I like the idea of having two, like having a monster that is an archer with a bow and everything, and having Kimberly kind of being at odds. That makes sense, but they didn't elaborate on it enough. So I thought the storytelling kind of failed, and again with the aspect of her not being freaking out about flying, that was kind of weird. Anyway, let's get into the rating for the monster. Snizzard. Look, I gave it 2. It looks like a giant lizard. There's not much else to write about. I like uniqueness in my monsters. I don't want just animals. I don't want just an item. I don't want just an animal. I want like a blending of your concept, whether it be a snake or I'm looking around for something, a coffee cup monster or whatever. I want a blending of this and a humanoid idea blended together, not just a giant lizard. So I gave it a 2. For the plan, I gave a 4, mainly because although Snizzard isn't part of the main sleeping potion plan, that's messed up. That's really messed up and super dark. That she's like, we're gonna poison the pilot and crash the plane. So 4. The powers, I actually did give him a 4. He's got, he can reflect their powers. He can drain their energy, and he's got his little. He's shooting arrows of like snakes at people. That's cool. Just would have liked it on a better monster, but that's a cool idea. So 4 for the power. Success 2. He held his own against the other Rangers, but it was weird, especially since we didn't have an explanation, that just 2 shots from the power bow was all that was needed. We didn't even form the big, power blaster, no Megazord. I needed to see more from him, success-wise. He needed to be able to take a punch a little bit better. Voice 3, I thought it was pretty generic. Nothing crazy there. So overall, with look 2, plan 4, powers 4, success 2, voice 3. That is a total of 15. So a very average monster. That's typically around where like I said, an average monster of the week would hang out in that scoring range. So not much to write home about Snizzard. And very forgettable. I hope that we explore another archery duel, whatever you want to call it, 2 different archers, and we elaborate on that and do that a little bit better. But I like the idea there, and I like the dark nature of like trying to crash the plane. But just needed more from the villain and more from the episode as a whole. It was largely forgettable, and I think that's why I didn't have a lot of notes. But appreciate you checking out the video. Please give it a thumbs up, and again, subscribe to the channel, and let me know what your thoughts on Snizzard were. Maybe you appreciated it, maybe you didn't like him, maybe you think I overrated him. Let me know your thoughts, and we'll see you here again on a podcast named Tim for Mighty Morphin Power Ranger reviews, Beast Morphin reviews, and Star Wars and other things as well. So, see you next time, and thank you for your support.